Okay, so over the last few days, I've been in my Facebook anyway. I've been getting a lot of questions like this that come up on my my Facebook feed, and they seem to do things like this: like, can you solve this simple math problem? Most people get it wrong, or it says 99% of people get this question wrong. Are you a genius? And they come up with these math problems. And as I read through the comments, I see a lot of people that actually do get those questions wrong, and it gives us an insight into people that don't understand or are unfamiliar with the order of operations. So what this is exactly what this video is going to be on, the order of operations and understanding how we use that when we're doing math equations and problems. So the learning goal that we'll be looking at is that hopefully by the end of this you can define and be able to calculate equations using the order of operations. You need to be able to explain what BIDMAS means and also be able to calculate these ones using them. So hopefully by the end of this you might be one of those geniuses that can answer these questions when they come up on your Facebook. So firstly, let's look at what BIDMAS means. Okay, so in the order of operations, we want to be able to use something that we can, an acronym that we can rely on to help us calculate equations using the order of operations. So in this instance, we're going to be using the word BIDMAS. Okay, or this example here says BIDMAS, etc. You're going to find different versions of this, or they might sound differently or be worded differently. But I'm going to explain why that is in a little later in the video. But for the first part, it's important that we just understand what each level means. So here we have what the letter and basically what needs to be done first. So in this instance, BIDMAS stands for B, brackets. The I is indices. We then have division and multiplication, and I'm going to put a square around those two there. And then finally addition and subtraction. So I'll get you to write this down in your book. It's important that you can memorize this and remember this, as this helps you as we go through doing some of those equations, how we can order and calculate these equations. So the B stands for brackets, and then we make sure we follow these rules. We go indices, then division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So once you've written that down, I'm going to make sure you're aware of the order of operation rules, and we've got the 4 rules over here as we do it. So firstly, you always do calculations in the brackets first. So that's why we've got it separate, organized like this. We've got brackets first. So we've got BIDMAS. We always start with the brackets first. After that, we do any calculations with an indices, and we've looked at indices in our previous video. We know that they're the powers too, so 3 squared, 4 to the power of 5, that's what indices is. So you do brackets first, then you do indices, and then you move on to the next level, which is you do the multiplication and division next in order from left to right as you come to them. Okay, so we have division and multiplication first, and that's why I've highlighted that level there, put them both in the same box. You'll see here that in my definition I've got explain what BIDMAS is, and this example it's got BIDMAS. It's just a way that they'll all be different, because it doesn't actually matter if you do division or multiplication first. If you see they're both on there, you have to make sure that you do it from left to right, so going in the order that we usually do it. The same also occurs for addition and subtraction, and that's what this number 4 step is. Finally, do the addition and subtraction in order from left to right as you come to them. So firstly, make sure it's important you copy this first, what BIDMAS means. I also want you to make sure you write down what the order of operations rules is. And what we're going to do now is an equation, and we can see how this actually works using the order of operations. Okay, so here we actually have an equation. Now this looks like a pretty complicated equation, but if we follow the order of operations, we follow our rules, and we also use our BIDMAS acronym here, we can actually break it down step by step, and you'll actually see that it's quite easy. So we're going to start off, and I know that B is going to be my first. I want to look for brackets first. So as I scan across the equation, I notice that I have a set of brackets here, so I'm going to do that calculation first. And the way that we write this down is you go through each step by step in what you have done. So instead of divide, I've got 7 plus 2. I've had to calculate that, so I have 9 times 3. So I've done that brackets first. I now move to the next level, and I've got the indices. So I'm going to scan across this, see if I have indices, which I do have here. Okay, and there's no other ones there, so I'm going to calculate this first on my next step. So I now have 14. That's minus 9. Plus 6 times 6 is 36, divided by 9, times 3. So I've done these two parts of my order of operations. Now I'll move on to rule 3, which is multiplication. So division and multiplication next, in the order that I see them from left to right. So as I scan across, I've got 14 minus 9 plus 36 divided by 9 times 3. So I do have a division and a multiplication on the same one, so I need to do the one that's on the left first, which will be 36 divided by 9. So I move on to my next level. 14 minus 9 plus 36 divided by 9 is 4 times 3. I can now move on to my next step. Obviously I've got a minus, an addition and a multiplication, so I know multiplication comes higher up in the order, so I'm going to do that next. I have 14 minus 9 plus 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, and then I can move on to my next part. So I now have, I've done division and multiplication, now I have addition and subtraction, and I can see here that I've got a subtraction and an addition. So again, even though addition comes first in this acronym, I need to go from left to right, so I'm going to do this one first. So 14 minus 9 equals 5 plus 12, and now I have a simple equation. 12 plus 5 equals 17. So that's the step-by-step process you need to go through when you're doing your order of operations. Make sure you've written these down, and it's just simply a matter of just practicing and understanding how it goes through. As we go through, we're going to learn a bit more with algebra and how we have to separate our multiplication and what symbols are used, but then we'll get into that in a later video. So make sure you take those notes and bring in those questions. Thank you.